So the 1996 Australian example is something that liberals often mention. We said at the top of the show that Dan Pfeiffer, the assistant to President Obama and now a CNN talker, wrote a piece several months ago going around today about how that's a model for this country, the gun buyback, which was mandatory, so gun confiscation. So there are hundreds of millions of firearms in the United States. What do you think would happen if liberal dreams came true and federal agents tried to confiscate hundreds of millions of privately owned weapons in this country?
That's not the right approach. And by the way, I don't actually agree with the Australian example. I use Germany, Finland, and Switzerland as the examples, and even Israel for that matter, which is where they have psychological background exams before you're issued the license to have your firearm. Switzerland has half as many firearms as we do, but they have 0 school shootings. Why is that? And they even have semi-automatic rifles. So the question becomes, what are we doing to make sure people who shouldn't have firearms don't have firearms? And that is where we need to be addressing laws.
I wonder though,
let's be honest, Tucker.
It's interesting. I mean, there are so many, and the Swiss example is a great one. It's a very high percentage of gun ownership there. The government actually encourages people to have weapons at home, as in effect a militia. But you have very few mass shootings, and in fact, very little crime. I'm wondering why there are no calls from the left to ask real questions about American culture, and does the collapse of family structure, millennia-old family structures, maybe something to do with this, or the fact that, you know, a quarter of the population's on psychotropic drugs, or obvious things. Why does no liberal ever mention those? It's always about taking my firearms away. Why is that, I wonder?